Porsche 914-6. This one's a bit special. Got the flary factory arches on. Rear wheel bearing. Wheel off, centre nut off, caliper off, disc off, drive shaft out, and then we pull the bearing out in situ. So bear with me, I'll show you how to do it. Drive shaft unbolted at both ends, because if you just do the inside, you haven't got enough room to push the drive flange thing out. So basically undo those four, then undo those four, and then you can separate the shaft from the drive shaft out, half shaft, whatever you call it, and then you can get the shaft out. Easy. That was a little trickier than anticipated. Unbolt the shaft at the gearbox, unbolt the shaft at the output half shaft. But basically they've got two locating pins and 4 bolts, and they kind of get stuck on these locators. I managed to wangle it out far enough so I just get a screwdriver and separate it. Once it's separated, it all just falls out, no problem. Next, need to get the flange out. It's a press fit into the bearing, but if you're lucky, if you get a drift around the back in a socket and just give it a tap with a hammer, it'll push it through. If not, like a slide hammer sort of thing will do it. But the other side just tapped out. I'll give it a go. Yeah, the flange just tapped out, no problem. It brings that piece of the bearing with it, that's normal. We'll put it in the vise and get a chisel and just tap that off. Next bit we're going to do, take these 4 bolts off. Oh, lights in the way. 4 bolts off, that flange off, and then we'll pull the bearing out this way. But basically that's all that's holding it in, is that plate. Right, we're at the bearing, so what I'm going to do now, that slides out. There's no circlips or nothing, just that end plate was holding it in. I'm going to get my slide hammer, push it through the bearing, screw this piece on the back. It comes with most kits. And then I'm just going to slide hammer the bearing out towards me. One bearing out. Now, just got to tap the new bearing in. Give this a good clean in here. Bit of lubricant, WD-40. We'll tap it in to start with, and then we'll pull it back in. Right, I've got the new bearing started. Need to tap it a bit more on the top to get it nice and straight. But it's an interference fit, but they're not a mad tight fit. Slightly Heath Robinson, but bit of threaded bar through the bearing, through a piece of angle line on the back, or a bit of flat metal or anything with a nut. And as I wind that, it'll pull the bearing in. It's most of the way in already. I just started it by gently tapping it, so we'll wind it in. If it starts to get bind, just give it a gentle tap with a hammer, and it'll move it in. It's all the way home, nice and flush. Take all this off. Put the retaining plate back on. Right, that's the flange back on. The retaining plate rather. We now need to put the flange back in. But of course that outer race, if we go to the bench, off the old bearing, the outer race has stayed with the drive flange. So if you get a sharp chisel, hit down there, you should be able to get that moving, and then you can use a couple of pry bars and just pry it off. Keep it even, a pry bar at each side. Excuse me, even pressure, it'll bring it off. Worst case scenario, you can get a grinder. If you put a slit in here, just the bearing race, not the flange, hit it with a big chisel, it'll split and come off. Yeah, I've got it moving with the aid of a chisel. So basically, a pry bar on this side and a pry bar on the other side, and I can't do both and hold the phone. Yeah, that's that off. Bit of even pressure either side, and it just slowly came off. It's all about getting even pressure either side. I mean, even if you get a friend to hold the bar in one side and gently tap with a chisel on the other side, it'll slowly pull off. So we're going to clean that up now and press it back into the new bearing. Right, I've gently tapped it into the outer race of the bearing. We don't want to keep tapping it because when it gets to the inner race, it'll just push it out. So again, threaded bar, washer will go through the flange, a nut on the back, same size as the inner race of the bearing, and then just pull the two together gently and it'll pull it right in without damaging anything. Sorry about the noise of the compressor going all the time. So yeah, pull it in. If it gets tight, give it a tap. That. You don't need to go mad tightening that, just pull it in till it stops, because when we put the drive shaft back in and torque the main hub nut, that'll pull it fully home. So that's all in nice. All you need to do now is put the drive shaft back in, brake disc back on, caliper on, torque the center nut, put the split pin in. Keep everything in a magnetic tray so don't lose anything. There's like a bit of a gasket goes between the drive shaft flange and the gearbox, don't forget that. And that's it, quite simple. The toolkit I've been using, I've got a slide hammer kit. Quite expensive, but obviously I use it all the time. You can probably get one from a tool hire place for the day if you need to, but I mean this is a heavy duty one, covers all bases, great bit of kit, made by over there. Yeah, Toolman sold it to us a while ago, and it gets used a lot because it makes a job like this so much easier. But again, you probably get away with a bit of threaded bar, a couple of big nuts. That's it. You know the drill. Like, subscribe. If you want me to cover any other basic stuff on any car, just drop it in the comments, and if we get that particular car in, we'll video it. Try and keep it simple. No bullshit videos.